Hello, my name is Curt Hyland, and this is my current event presentation, Disputed Territory, a dispute involving the Chinese, the Japanese, and the disputed Senkaku Islands. You may have seen in the news this territorial dispute resurface. Recently, a senior Chinese general has criticized the Japanese for comments about the disputed islands, and comments from Japanese Prime Minister Abe and U.S. Defense Secretary Hengel have recently angered the Chinese. To give you a little background on the Senkaku Islands, the islands consist of 5 uninhabited islands and 3 barren rocks. The People's Republic of China and Taiwan have claimed that they have owned these islands since as early as 1534, although the Japanese clearly do not agree. In fact, Japan does not accept that there is a dispute at all. The islands came under U.S. control and occupation in 1945 during World War II. After identifying potential oil and gas reserves, however, the U.S. Senate returned the islands to Japan in 1972. In the court of public opinion in China, however, the Chinese put far more importance on this dispute than the Japanese. Over 80% of the Chinese acknowledge a dispute versus only 60% of the Japanese people. One clear message delivered by the Chinese here: get out. Hard feelings exist between the Japanese and Chinese, dating back to one event, the Nanking Massacre, which occurred in December of 1937, in which the Japanese Imperial Army killed hundreds of thousands of Chinese citizens and raped many Chinese women. Obviously, hard feelings still exist to this day. Recent friction, however, developed when Japanese Prime Minister Abe visited the Yasukuni War Shrine in Japan. Nations that have suffered in the past to Japanese atrocities view visits to this shrine by the Japanese government as insults and insensitive, leading to references to Voldemort by the Chinese government. Some 3 of the big names in this political crisis are President Obama, Japanese Prime Minister Abe, and Chinese President Xi Jinping. All 3 have political agendas that impact how they react to the current crisis. One political agenda for the United States is the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement that President Obama is continuing to push. The 12 countries included in this agreement are Japan, Vietnam, Singapore, Brunei, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, Chile, Peru, Mexico, Canada, and of course, the United States. The goal of the TPP is to enhance trade and investment, promote innovation between the countries and economic growth, and it also helps support the creation and retention of jobs between these countries by increasing the free trade and reducing tariffs. Obviously, one notable absence in the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement that may soon exist, is China. As you can see by this chart here, in 2009 we exported 5.8 million in goods and services to China, but imported nearly 28 billion. The U.S. must stop the bleeding in this trade deficit. Although the territorial dispute is between Japan and China, the U.S. is clearly supporting Japan, and as seen by the TPP, we may have a political agenda for doing so. The 2 biggest kids on the block will tangle from time to time, and China and U.S. are no different. Japan stands to gain from the TPP as well. As you can see here, as Don mentioned last week in his presentation, the Japanese economy has struggled since the nuclear disaster, while the Chinese economy continues to grow. The U.S. can help bolster the Japanese economy through their support in this dispute and to continue to push the TPP. By building alliances and positive relationships with the Japanese, the trade gap to China can continue to narrow, promoting the U.S. agenda. The tension between China and Japan will continue to exist over this territorial dispute and of other past histories and atrocities the Japanese committed. The U.S. support for Japan just adds another twist to this continuing saga, and this saga will be continued.